Hi guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to set up a little notification system that will allow you to receive the detail, a breakdown of all the events that you're going to have today in your WhatsApp directly. So you will be able to set it up for every morning or every Sunday night, for example. And so let me show you how it works. Before I share my screen, I'm Davy, the founder of autopilot.co. And we build cool automations for cool people using no-code tool. So with that being said, let me show you my screen. So here we are in today's calendar and I have different appointments coming, right? So with this automation that I have right here, when I'm going to run it, I will be able to know exactly every morning what's going to happen to me today. So I can stay on top of everything and make sure I'm not going to miss any meetings. And when I go in WhatsApp, this is what I receive. So I have a good morning. I hope you're ready for a productive and inspiring day. And here I have the breakdown of all the appointments already set up. So I have the lunch, I have the kickoff meeting, and I have the workout. So everything is here, basically. And this message basically retrieve all those information, share it with me. So every morning, I know what to expect. So how does this work? So here is what we will need to have this set up. So first of all, a make account, so make.com account. So that's the first thing that we will need. We will need an OpenAI key in order to have the help of ChatGPT. We will need a Google Calendar, WhatsApp, and I'm using Mate API. So Mate API is a third-party tool that allow me to perform a lot of tasks using WhatsApp API. It's not an official API, so I'm not necessarily recommending to you to use it. This is for my personal use case, so that makes sense. But this tool has been part also of a bigger project, so I already had to use it as well for a different project, which will allow me as well to use it for this specific automation. You can replace this tool by using the official WhatsApp key, API key that you can set up in make.com. So you have the choice, right? This tool is a paid tool, but we'll cover this later on. But you can replace it by the official WhatsApp API. So let's break down now the overview of this flow. How does it work? So first of all, we need a trigger. So in this case, I have set up a trigger for every weekdays at 7 a.m. So this is when the scenario is going to run and start sending me notifications. Obviously, you can change it to fit your own schedule. You can change the time, you can change the days. It's up to you. Now, the first module that we have here is a module that will allow us to set up the variables that we will need later on for this specific automation. What I like to do is first is to define the starting date, because when we're going to retrieve the events, we need to provide the initial starting date. Because this event's going to run on a daily basis, the starting date will always be now, because the trigger will be 7 a.m. every weekdays. So what we have here, we have the now function that will allow me to retrieve the time right now, the date right now. Then I set up the format and I make sure that I add my time zone. Because if I do not add my time zone, then all the hours will be mixed up. It won't fit exactly my day. So this is where I'm mentioning my time zone in order to make sure everything will be with my current schedule. Then I'm setting up the finishing date. So that means that, for example, for if you wanted to set it up for Sunday night, in order to have an idea about what's coming for you this entire week, you can change the finish date by Friday night, for example. In my case, the finish date is always the same day, but 8 hours later. So that's the reason why I've added here the add hours function, in order to say, starting from now, I'm going to add 8 hours in order to have all the meetings during the regular hours from 9 to 5, for example. If I want to have all the meetings from 9 to midnight, then I just need to add a bit more hours here, so that will cover a bigger amplitude of my day. Once again, I'll make sure to not forget the time zone. Otherwise, I might not have the right hours for all my meetings. Then I like to set up the product ID here. So this is what I will use for the Mate API call in order to send me a WhatsApp message. and the phone ID. So those are two variables that I've set up separately. And I will show you how to do it as well once we get to this particular module and how to retrieve those data if you want to use the same tool. So then I'm going to add the Google Calendar module. And in this Google Calendar module, the first thing that you're going to do is connect it with your own Google Calendar. And then you can bind the data here. So in the start date input, you can literally select the starting date that we have defined. The end date, you will use the finishing date that we have defined as well in the variable module right here. Then you will select the calendar that you want to retrieve, that you want this system to go through. Then you can validate. Once we have done this, what's happening? So this is the kind of output that I have from this module. So as you can see, here is my first event. There's a lot of things happening. It's a bit messy, to be honest. It's not necessarily what I need to receive every morning. That's just going to confuse me more than anything else. But basically, this kind of data that I have in my object, this is what I have for every single event. So because I don't want to deal with an object that is so big with so many info, I'm just going to do, the first thing I'm going to do is add an array aggregator in order to already select the piece of information that I need in my message. So the first thing that I do is select the event ID, the status of the event, the description, the location, summary of this event, starting hour, ending hour, the hangout link if I have one, and that's it. So I can simply confirm. And once I have this, so already we can see how the data have been transformed. So I went from this output, as you can see here, to this output, which is already much better, right? And because I have set up this array aggregator, and now each event, this is what the piece of info that I'm getting from each event, this array aggregator will bring them all together, which means that the final output will look like this, where I'm going to have an object with an array of objects and each event with those information, which make it already a lot simpler for me to use. However, I'm still having an issue here, which is I have an object, an array, and then an object for each event that contains the different key and the different values, right? This is still not super easy to use for me, so I still need to add another transformation on top of that. So that's the reason why I'm adding here an Iterator module, because from this array, I will be able to extract all the collection that I have, which means every event with all the data that I'm interested in. And now my final output looks like this. So this is a lot better for me now because I can see event 1, this is everything about this event, all the info that I need. Event 2, same thing. Event 3, same thing. So this is perfect. This is exactly what I needed. Now what I need to do is to maybe transform those data in something a bit more appealing for me visually, because I would like to receive it in WhatsApp and I want something a bit clearer, right? So what module we're going to use now? The first thing that we're going to do is use the text aggregator, because we are going to go through those data sets. And I want to make sure as well that I'm still receiving all those data in my time zone. So here I have added a formula to format the date, the starting date, and the finishing date with my time zone. It's very important to do it here. Otherwise, you might have something based on the UTC time zone. And once it's done, you can confirm and now submit this particular variable to OpenAI by using the create a chat completion method. So what we do here, basically now we are going to create a prompt where we are going to explain the format and what we want with those data. How do we want the final message to look like? So here, what I can set up is the prompt. So for example, here, your task is to generate a clear and concise recap of today's meeting with all inline, with all line breaks properly formatted. This is super important because when you want to make the final API call, you cannot have a line break without a specific formatting. Otherwise, it's going to cause an error. So the line break formatting is this. So you need to add an anti-slash and n in order to break a line and make sure you won't find any error in your API call. So then, strictly based on the input that I provide, which is the text that we have just formatted before with the right time zone, with the right information about the event. And now the idea is to give me all the necessary details about today's event. I provide as well an example about what I would like the output to look like, so a title, a text, etc. I have also added a little quote, because I like to be inspired every morning with a little quote. So I just added this part: always include an inspiring quote from a famous speaker, writer, singer, actor, or performer, keeping the quote in its original language format. And then I also make sure that you use the single quote punctuation mark. Otherwise, if you use the double quote, you will have an issue when you make your API call. So that's very important. And then it's all about the formatting. Make sure that there is no text formatting error preventing JSON output to be used in this API call, and making sure the API call will work. So that's basically what the prompt is about. And so once you have done this prompt, then this is what you will receive as a output. So you have the good morning, then you have the little sentence to introduce all the events of the day. And as you can see, this is not sexy when you look at it, because you can see already anti-slash and n, so it doesn't look great. However, this is necessary in order to have this API call, and already we can see that it went through, which is the goal, right? So we have here the status 200, which makes sense, right? Because it's already well formatted. But when we get it in WhatsApp, the formatting was absolutely great. So that's how we did it. Now, to talk a little bit about this last module, so the main API key. So this is this tool that I'm using right here. So when you log into it, you can add a font. So you can run test messages if you want to see what it looks like. I think you have like a 3-day free trial as well. But basically, you scan the QR code here, it's going to log into your WhatsApp web. And then you can retrieve your phone ID that will appear here once you connect a phone. And you will be able to have your product ID right here and your token ID right here in order to create the key. And so basically here I set up the credential. So which means that here when you add the credential, you keep this name. For the key, you will copy paste the token that we just saw before. You leave it in the header. And here will be through documentation, if I'm not saying anything incorrect, is XMite API key, right? So this is how it works. And basically, I'm not going to say anything bad, but let's just double check. This is, what is it? So send a message. So exactly. So that's what we need. This element. So that's this element that we're adding here, right? So here you will copy paste it. And now you will copy paste your token right here. And you will create. So that will create your credential. You'll be able to log in. Then you add the URL. So in this case, we're using the send message. So we can see the structure of it. So here, this is the product ID. Here we have the phone ID. And then we have the /send message, which is the command. So that's what we have to set up. Then we add the content type application JSON. That's also part of the documentation right here. Okay. And then we will just add the body. So the body is going to be row type JSON. And here, what we see here is basically what you have right here. So that's the way you can set it up and replace it with your own variable. So for example, the number here will be my phone. So that's why I set it up already in this. And the result here will be the message. So the result that we retrieve from the OpenAI module will be the message that needs to be sent. And then I can just press OK and I'm good to go. So hopefully you'll find this system helpful. You will maybe implement it in order for you to receive those notifications. Just to let you know, I've added an extra filter. So I added an extra filter right here just after the Google Calendar module in order to prevent me from receiving a text when there's absolutely no event today. So for example, if I have an empty calendar and I do not put this filter, I'm still going to receive a message. And what might happen sometimes, it might create fake events just because I provided example because there's nothing to populate the message. In this case, I'm not interested in receiving a message if there's nothing happening today because I know that every day 7 a.m. I'm going to have this text. So if I don't have this text, that means that today I have no meetings. And in this case, I just had the filter where I'm adding basically the total number of bond, which is basically the number of object in my collection. So that will be basically the number of events that I have in my collection. So if it's greater than 0, then it can go through. If it's smaller than 0, then there's no point because that means there's no event. So this is the filter that I've just set up right here in order to make sure that I receive a text only when I have an event that has been planned for the day. So now let's talk about the budget. So how much would it cost to set up an automation like this? So basically for make.com, you can access it through the free plan. For an OpenAI, you will have to generate your API key and you will have to top up your account. So this is a credit-based module, which means that you can, I think the starting price will be $20 and you have your credit for at least a year. So that would be the minimum required in order to have this OpenAI key. But honestly, $20 with the usage that comes with it, it would be more than enough to cover the entire year. You might have also different use cases where you would need this module. So this one, not a big deal. Then we have the Google Agenda, the Google Calendar that you have for free, the WhatsApp that you have for free. And Mate API is a paid tool. So this one might be an issue. I understand that not everybody wants to pay $30 a month to receive this type of notifications. In my case, that was already part of a bigger project. So I'm just using it because I already have it. In your case, you can swap this tool by the official WhatsApp API key. So you can have it for free, set it up with the Facebook manager, right? And using the WhatsApp module in make.com. So instead of having the last module that make an API call, in my case, which is this one, you will add instead the WhatsApp module right here, send a message. And that will be this module instead of this one, but you will just have to create your connection to make it. That's another alternative. And if you do not know mateapi.com, just invite you to check it out, especially if you need to create WhatsApp group, because that could be very interesting and a very good alternative for specific cases when you're working with small businesses or when it's for personal use cases, right? So I think this is done for today. We just covered this automation. Hopefully you will find some value in it. And maybe if you implement it, let me know. I would like to see how it goes. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comment. If you're not subscribed yet, just subscribe. Let me know what you would like to see. If you have any interest in particular automation, I'll be happy to take a look at it. If you have any projects, feel free to get in touch as well. And I'll see you in the next video.